Hi, this is me, Mara Christie, and I'm about to continue the report. And this is still on their performing arts, specifically music, and we will proceed to music combined with other arts. So, first of that's opera, and opera is the Italian word for work, and this is an art form that tells a story through music and singing, wherein all the actors and actresses needs to sing their lines with emotions, of course, in order to properly portray the characters that they're trying to portray. And thus, by the early 20th century, the Philippines was able to produce its first opera, and that is, the first opera in the Philippines is called Sandugong Panaginip. Yes, Sandugong Panaginip. That's the first opera in Tagalog language. And one example that I have in opera is one of the most popular opera in the world, which is The Phantom of the Opera. So this Phantom of the Opera is based on the 1910 novel by Gaston Leroux, and this is about a disfigured musical genius who haunts the Paris Opera House. And the Phantom, that's the man who wears the mask. So, a gifted composer who lives in an underground cavern beneath the opera house and hides his facial scars with a white mask. He becomes obsessed with the beautiful soprano Christine Day. That Christine Day is one of the actor or singer in that opera as well. And that girl who is both drawn to him but also frightened with him, especially since he's a bit creepy at some part. So let's proceed to the next. That's operetta and musical. So an operetta falls somewhere between an opera and a musical. And like a musical, an operetta most often contains spoken dialogues as well as song. So this is like a combination of singing and like merely dialogue itself. So some part of this like play is sung same as an opera, but there are also some dialogues that needs to be recited. So it's like a monologue. Yeah, monologue. Most famous opera is called The Merry Widow by Franz Lehár. So yeah, by Franz Lehár. And Lehár himself is widely considered the leading operetta composer of the 20th century. And his most successful operetta, I'm not sure how it's pronounced, but when it's translated to English, that is called The Merry Widow. So this is one of the classic operetta still in the repertory. And the story, by the way, behind that operetta or behind the story, The Merry Widow. So the operetta is a set of fictional country. The operetta is set in the fictional country of Pontevedra. That's the place, and tells the story of Hannah Glawari. That's the girl, or that's the widow. So Hannah is a wealthy widow who inherits her husband's fortune since her husband already died, and the country is bankrupt. And its only hope is to convince Anna to marry a local man so she doesn't take her fortune abroad. So, however, Hannah has a history with the man they have in mind, and there are many twists and turns. So, this story is like about, yeah, it's about a girl, and the people in town or the township does not want her to go abroad with or carrying with her the inheritance that she got from her husband who passed away. And in order for their place or their country to be saved from bankruptcy is to marry, or for Hannah to marry any men in their country in order for her to stay and not leave their country or go abroad with her inheritance. So that's for operetta and musical. Next is oratorio. So next is oratorio. So this is a large scale musical composition which is more on like sacred or semi-sacred subjects, which are sang by through solo voices, chorus or choir, and also in orchestra. So this is usually performed in probably some in churches or any religious gatherings or on any like religious presentations. So one of the best example is George Frederick Handel's Messiah. So Messiah is a title of the oratorio, and the maker or the composer is George Frederick Handel. So this is the picture. Next is cantata. So in cantata, this is a poem or a story or play set to music to be sung by a chorus and soloists. So in this one, so there are, it's like the main soloist but still have like a backup or a background accompaniment. So like orchestra and some background singers. So Cantata on the Death of Emperor Joseph II by Ludwig van Beethoven is one of the best example of cantata. And since I mentioned Beethoven or Ludwig van Beethoven, so let's proceed. So Ludwig van Beethoven, by the way, is one of the famous or greatest composer since then or since his time. So he is born on 1770 in Bonn, that's Bonn, that's located in Germany, and he's a son of a court musician. So it's already in his family or in their blood being a musician. So he is a German composer and pianist, and regarded as the greatest composer who ever lived. So he began losing his hearing in his mid-20s and was completely deaf by age 44. So yes, he is deaf. He is the deaf composer, and even though he lost his hearing, or even though he's already hearing in part, or I'm not sure how it's being called, so he still managed to compose or make more music or songs in his condition, knowing that he cannot hear clearly. And how he can compose or how he can still make music, that's through him like feeling the vibration on the instruments that he's using. sure what's the exact age, but it's around probably around 7 or 9. So that's the time he started learning music and joined some contests in their place, that's in Germany. And with that, he was called the like another Mozart. So Beethoven's father wanted to promote him as the next child prodigy, especially since his father himself is a great musician as well. So he wants his child to be like him. So that's what happened. And it did happen though, especially since Beethoven is very famous even up until now. He's still famous with his works. So let's proceed to dance. So after music, the last part of music is the cantata. So after cantata, we will proceed to dance. So dance is an art form that involves moving the body in a rhythmic way, often to music, to express ideas, feelings, and experiences. So as we give into like any vibe of music, we tend to move or sway our body at some point, and that's already called dancing. So most of us, we tell to ourselves that no, I don't know how to dance, I'm not a dancer. But by just simply swaying or moving your body, swaying your body from left to right, or even like moving your hands together with your shoulders, that can be considered as dancing. It is because your body is moving in a rhythmic way. Yes. Next, so dance can have many purposes, and that includes communication. So dance can be used to tell stories, which stories pass down information or express emotions. So under communication, yes, we can communicate through dancing on the actions that we do while we dance, just like in the operas or any theatrical presentation. So they don't just use their voice in singing, but they also use their body in dancing, like expressing the intense emotion that they have at the moment, etc. etc. So that's it for communication. Next, that's celebration. Dance can be used to celebrate special occasions or mark rites of passage. So when we celebrate, yeah, celebration, when we celebrate or when we have some celebrations, or when we are like happy or excited, probably yes, like that. Next is cultural heritage. Dance can be an important part of cultural heritage. Same as here in the Philippines, the cultural dances that we have, which is still alive up until the very moment. For example, tinikling, the pandango sa ilaw, and other cultural dances that we have, which is also been part of our history, which is being passed from generation to generation in order for it to be maintained. So next to that is social activity. So dance can be a social activity, yes, that helps people connect with each other. So for example, with the social activity is like like Zumba dance, or like dancing just for fun to relieve stress, or yeah, something like that. And dance can be like, yeah, social activity. Like example, there is a party, and in and if there's a party, of course there's music. If there's music, there's dancing. So that's for like social activity. Then therapeutic practice. For me, for this therapeutic practice, the dance can be a therapeutic practice. This is like the, yeah, Zumba or exercises that we have, and this is mostly done as for our generations. So this is mostly done by like adults. So there are like, as what I can notice, I haven't even noticed any teenagers doing a Zumba dance, or doing dance or dancing, I mean dancing, as like a therapeutic practice. So for me, under this therapeutic practice, that's like the Zumbas that are being conducted. So with regards to dances, we have here the first part. This is the ethnological dances. So ethnological dances, by the way, it is a kind of dance performed by a native to a specific race or ethnic group. So this is like here in the Philippines, we have here some specific dances from a specific group of tribe. For example, I just forgot the tribe, but the I just forgot the tribe, but it's the one where we like have some fan. Yeah, we use a fan, the umbrella, where they have like a queen, or their queen is the one holding the fan, dancing there and there. And then there is the assistant who is holding the umbrella that has a rooster at the top. Yes, has a rooster on top. And the queen, the one who's acting as the queen, has a rooster headdress. Yes, that's what I can remember. I just forgot on where that dance is, but I guess that's part of the Muslim. So next, so first, in ethnological dances, we have here polka. So polka, the word polka comes most likely from the Czech word polka, which means half. So polka refers to the lively, fast-paced, and jumpy type of dancing. So it is like a jolly dance. So this is like, yeah, a jolly dance. So it means this is not slow, it's fast. So the modern Polish American favorite dance, so that's the polka, is a lively couple dance in a moderately fast duple meter. So polka is danced not as a group. Yeah, you can dance it as a group, but with partners. Since polka is danced as like a couple dance, so you should have a partner, like male and female. So yeah, and as what I can remember, this is like also danced in other countries. This is danced during weddings as well. Okay, so after polka, which is the couple dance, we have flamenco. So flamenco is a very emotional style of dance. dance. The flamenco dancers try to express their deepest emotions by using body movements and facial expressions. So, with this kind of ethnological dance, so the dancers uses dance in order to express emotions that they have, like if they are hurt or they're sad or whatever emotions they have on that moment, or yeah, and yeah, they use their body movements and facial expressions. So if they're a bit aggressive, so their actions are like "Far," like that, and their facial expressions like "Arr." If they're sad, so if they're sad, so yes, their face is like and then their actions are like mellow or like slow. That's it. And if they're happy, they're excited, so it's like more on upbeat and like lively musics. And this flamenco dance, by the way, this started on the 14th century, and this symbolizes Spain's identity and conveys a range of emotion. So usually flamenco, as what I have noticed based on my research as well, so this is mostly danced by women wearing in like usually red dress, where it's like a mermaid style dress, so it's fitted, then they like emphasizes some movements on their feet and including their dress, yes, since that's what they chose. So after flamenco we have here Indian dance. So Indian dance started around 200 before Christ era in India, of course, since this is an Indian dance. So Indian dance is a joyful and celebratory activity, often in devotion to Hindu deities. So this dance was made in order to honor their gods and goddesses. So they have this like kind of a festival where they dance in front of the statue or like altar of their gods or their deities. Yes. So this sacred art of dancing tells sacred tales from Indian mythology and fascinatingly describes gods, men, animals, and their emotions. So they do this dance as like telling stories or like the history of this specific deity or gods, like the story behind that specific deity that they have in their country. So that's under Indian dance.